The family here at ELBC, anytime I come here, my spirit is lifted because good work has been done to the national radio broadcasting system. So we say good afternoon to you and to just everyone. I know people from Foya, you just talk about Foya, might be listening. People from Kipamans as well as Kipmans, people from Omo, or Bunkonima, in Bon County, Secretary and the rest of the country. We say good afternoon to you and nice to be here and to talk to our people.
Dr. Yarkpawolo, Emmanuel, you are transitioning from academia to politics. The last time I checked, you were the president of the Salvation Army Polytechnic University. The last time I checked, you were transitioning from that position to go and contest in Bon County as a representative. The last time I checked, Tewan Gonglo, a man who I have a lot of respect for, an integral lawyer, has picked you as his running mate. Before I find a song to introduce you, let me hear, how did you receive that information? And where are you living the Salvation Army Polytechnic University as you transition from academia to politics?
I think one of the hallmarks of a good leader is to make a lot of leaders. So at the Polytechnic, we have a lot of leaders, the vice presidents, the deans, and just everyone who works there. We have tried to build their capacity to give them independence. So us, the Polytechnic, going to be successful, and they are working very hard there. Well, it was in the same office when a group of lawyers came to me and indicated to me that they'd done some research work. They wanted me to run, I said, running mate to the learning counselor, Emmanuel Yarkpawolo. I was very happy when I heard it first, you know, because I admire him, right? I admire the counselor so much. In fact, when I was running as representative for the representative position, I normally told my team in the field that the person I'm going to vote for is going to be the counselor. I say that all the time.
But then you are not know him. You are not in any interaction with him.
Well, I have known him, but you are not in the capacity that you're going to ask me to serve as his running mate. We both have worked together on the land right law. I focusing on the research part, and he's focusing on the legal part between 2010 and 2016. And we had a lot of conversation. We discussed Liberia. So up to that point, I knew his value very well. So, but in the field, I kept telling my team members, including Joshua Barnum and Joe Maggie and the rest of the people back in Bon County, that this country is at a crossroad, and the person who can really take this country head on and make it what it's supposed to be is Tewan Gonglo, and I'm going to vote for him. So in other words, I was...
You have admired him all along
already.
While you were, say, in academia.
Of course, yes. So by his sending people to talk to me was not difficult on my part. The difficulties was to try to build consensus on that decision. So that means we have to go back and get our leaders involved back in the district. We got to go back and get the citizens and their leaders involved to try to build consensus to say that for them to agree. And everything was done properly. And then finally in Balafanin, the people of District Number 4 turned us over to Councillor Gonglo to be his vice presidential candidate. So since then, we started working, and you saw Banga on the 8th of July. The pronouncement was made in Banga. It was very, very, very good. And since then, we are now in the boat, and we are moving ahead.
Dr. Emmanuel Yarkpawolo, I will introduce you with this song right now. My Pele people here send me some new music. Tell me new songs, man. The Crowns, the Bassas, the Grebbles, the Crews, they have new songs here. Every time I come on the radio to introduce a Pele, man, if some of your country play the same song, please send me some new music, man. This man is called Jung Bang Bang. If your video has been interrupted, please, we just go back to ELTV Live. You're live, you get us again. Emmanuel Yarkpawolo is my guest on this show. That's our little welcoming on this show right now. On the 5th of 5 o'clock, the leadership district number 10, where Josephine Davis, former Inspector General of Liberia, in the Commerce Ministry, will be coming to talk about what's happening in district number 10, as she says she wants to unseat Jeke Koluba. We'll talk district number 10 politics at 5 o'clock. And sharpen your political arsenals. You'll get the best of it. As soon as Demowa Fofana links me up, that all is okay, then I'll go to the Emmanuel Yarkpawolo. I don't want to start a show without the social media component of it, even if it's interrupted as a result of some issues. My name is Jala Griffield. I'm the nation's Heavenly J. Remember Jala Griffield chapter 1 verse 1. Let's talk and talk and talk, and never shall we fight. Where are my brothers in Bangabon County? Radio Banga, Radio Bongi. Hot FM. Premium Radio. And the Cali radio station as well. Paraselect, I think so that's the name. So we'll go today. She will join us. But again, welcome back to the program. Dr. Emmanuel Yarkpawolo is my guest. He is the running mate of Tewan Gonglo. The last time I saw him here, we were talking about education in Liberia. The last time I interviewed him was also on our program where I profiled him. He is now in a different capacity as a politician. How did you receive this news? When you receive these lawyers in audience at your office and they said, we've come to ask you and know who you are, that Tewan Gonglo wants to pick you. How was it that day?
It was in the afternoon. At that point, I have got my document because I was running as an independent candidate. So I was about to submit my document to the National Elections Commission. That same weekend, I was traveling to Canada in the U.S. So this was, I think, either on a Tuesday or on a Wednesday when this event took place. They came, we talked. I asked them a lot of questions. Well, questions were not about the quality or the dream of Councillor Gonglo. It was about, the timing, why this time, questions such as why me, I at least thought about it. So the answers of questions, some questions were left for the councillor himself to answer. So the following day he came and we spent about 2 hours together. And then he met of course, with some other officials that wanted him to speak to. During that time, I was making a lot of phone calls. Within 24 hours, I played more than 50 phone calls, both in Liberia and outside Liberia.
And asking people?
I was asking people, my associates.
Soliciting their views?
Yes, on this particular.
To inform the decision
yes,
to accept?
Exactly. And I went to the Liberian People Party also. I have friends there. And the young people in the party, and then I started to ask them. So I was asking a lot of questions. And then he came back, we talked again. Then it was time to go and build consensus in Bong County. We brought all of our leaders together in Banga, where we had a whole day discussion. The issue was debated. People agree, and then they said before we can finally agree, he need to come and see us so that we can talk to him directly. This was on the Thursday. On the Friday actually. I was supposed to leave from there directly to the airport and into Canada that day.
Okay.
But because the team requested to see him and I placed a call on him, he said, put a phone on loudspeaker so I can speak with them. If they are available, I'm ready to come and talk to them tomorrow. on Saturday. So that day, I had to cancel my trip to Canada to be able to wait for him because he would not go there without my impression. And he went there on Saturday, met up with the team.
And that's the time you're going to meet your people, tell them, say, I'm choosing your son.
Well, yes, that's building the consensus. Because when you run like a representative, you have a group of people, volunteers who are working with you. You don't make any kind of abrupt decision without their involvement. So this is the core team, about 32 persons in Banga. It was from that when they agreed, then they requested that he needed to go to the district and talk to the district elders council for them to have their buy-in. And then it was scheduled the following Saturday. Friday, actually, the following Friday. And then he honored that invitation. We had a beautiful program in Balafanane that brought together a little over 300 people from the cross district number 4, comprising Zota district, Panta district, and Makola Klein. It was a very beautiful program. The traditional people to know exactly what to do. They were able to, he presented cola to them, and then they accepted his cola, and then thanked him. And then literally took my hand in a very ceremonious way, laid my hand in his hand, and said that you want him to help you, we agree. So this is our son. And from there, the work started. So it was broad-based, and very, very happy that my people can honor me that way. So
it means that you did not accept his invite to come to his party and be his running mate, but you chose, did you agree to him here? Or did he say to him, let's go to the county, if my people agreed and I agreed?
Well, I think it
because I saw a traditional dance with the brooms in your hands. And when I saw my big brother Michael Beto posted that, I was so elated. I said, wow, this is a real traditional dance I wanted to be a part of. I was a part of in the interior. I watched that video over and over and again. And so, how was it like? Did he accept here before going there, or you accepted it there?
Well, I think from the onset, when they told me, I think there was an inner calling to say that this is something that I should accept. Why? Because I like the man. I like his ideology. I like his philosophy. I like his things. And he told me, the reason why I'm coming to you is that you share my value and you are younger. So your capacity need to be built. And I believe that very strongly. So I already had some acceptance in my heart. But you know why? I will not do it. And one tree cannot make a forest. I'm not just from the sky that somebody can pick me up with that kind of important role. I have owners. So he needed to go to my owners.
And your owners are the Bong people.
My owners are the people of Bong County. And he went to them, and traditionally my people turned me over to him to be his vice presidential candidate, or aspirant, as you might call it.
So does that mean that Emmanuel Yarkpawolo abandoned his quest to represent the poor Gamoy, Gamo was what they played, in Bong County, or representative to be a running mate to Tewangogolo?
I will not use the word abandon or quest.
What did he do? How do you refer to that?
So it is transition.
If he did not abandon, then what did he do?
So I transitioned from a representative candidacy
to a bigger portfolio.
Yes, to a vice presidential candidacy role. So it's a transition. And everything that we promised to do, and everything that we will do for District Number 4 and Bong County, they are in the pipeline. They're going to come. In fact, this bigger portfolio, it gave us a greater opportunity to deliver our promises and even do more. So that is not abandonment. No, I did not abandon my people, and I would never do that.
Now, one may say Emmanuel Yarkpawolo, as a man who has found himself in academics in this country, he is not a big politician. He was trying to make his way to the politics as well as he said not abandon, but I will use that my choice of word as he abandoned your quest to be representative to come as running mate to Tewangogolo. And if he doesn't become a president, you still have a bigger leverage in the political political arena in the upper part. You have the George Weah, who is the arrowhead, that is unarguable. Joseph Walker, Cummins, and then if you come, it's a Taiwan, and I can say that for a fact. If I'm naming all of the 4 politicians in this country, I named Taiwan amongst the first 4. Now, so if he doesn't win, then the name Yarkpawolo, Yure Yarkpawolo becomes a big name in the country, preparing himself for 2029 election. Am I correct?
So, the naming, I think we should switch the position. So it'll be fair if they say, you know, if they say the president, of course, George Weah, and you say it, Omar Joseph Boakai, the next one you want to call is Tiong Gonglo before Kumi. So okay. I think
that's your
yeah.
I don't want to take that from you. I believe that.
Yeah, exactly. There were the position and the positions I right now. So, but the question about winning is very clear. So I don't think we don't want to follow hypothetical if it does not happen, because it's going to happen. Why? Because among all the presidential candidates, Tiong Gonglo is the most qualified by his record and everything he has stood
most
for.
Qualified?
I'm telling you, by his record.
What makes him more qualified than others? You have Joseph Boakai, you have George Weah, you have the Cummins, and Tiong Gonglo has been a lawyer in his country.
So he has not just
his eloquence in a lawyering position, a professional rather, and his advocacy for poor people in this country is recorded very highly, and I'm a beneficiary of his advocacy. As a former vice president of the press union, when press freedom, honor, Madam Salif, and St. Joseph Boakai was on a threat, where journalists were arrested and beaten here, he advocated for them, and I was vice president. I must hold that in high esteem. He's not a politician. Cummins became a politician before him. So how then do you rate him over Cummins? Not talking about George Weah.
Well, you're just listing some of the work he's done so far. He loves Liberia. He has been in Liberia throughout. And everything he stood for, the value he stood for, the fight against corruption, fighting for injustice, and everything that Councillor Gonglo had done, that's why you're looking for a good president. All right? But fast forward, his 10-point agenda for the development of Liberia is something that is clear, it is unarguable at this point. So even if you look at his past record up to present and the future record that is to come based upon his platform, you can say he is the best and he is the most qualified. And the Liberian people are becoming to see that. And then eventually come toward 10, you'll see the results. There are a lot of silent voters. We are getting calls. We are getting secret endorsement from prominent individuals.
Secret endorsements?
Of course. There are secret endorsements.
Other parties want open endorsements. When they believe in the crowd politics.
No.
As evidence of the fact that George Weah party, the CDC, just on last Monday, held a rally, non-rally, but an endorsement and appreciation for him, where you saw multitude of people, ocean of people who came. Joseph Boakai goes to Grand Bassa. They say crowd politics was played there. He moves to Nima County, Mike Gibby and that Bon County. They were all competing for crowd. Then why do you go for silent endorsements?
So you got to study the crowd first. The last weekend crowd, the thank you, quote unquote, thank you crowd. You really got to
quote unquote.
Yes, you really got to see.
Let me know your meaning of quote unquote.
Well, because I mean, if at all you go to offices and people who work for you, post civil servants, who many of them not even getting paid, you tell them if you don't show up and show me pictures that you are in a crowd, we're gonna deal with you. And you force people, you put out a crowd out.
Are you very serious with that conversation right now? That in such a mammoth crowd that turn up at the CDC headquarters in all districts in Monserrado, that woman who works in public ministry want to take his picture with citizen teachers on him and say, this man here. You
some people are that hard. Wow. Some people went there, they were jubilating by themselves. Some people love the president. Some people love the CDC. That's true. Others went there because they were coerced. That's also true. But perhaps let's talk about what we would do, right?
You buy on a broom, broom there?
Yes, I'm
broom. So let's see that.
Oh yeah, this is a broom. Yeah, I'm broom too.
You're broom too.
I'm broom with this broom.
What is the name of your face one face two rescue one rescue two? You one broom two.
Yes.
Is that official? Is that official? That's how we refer to it in the media.
People refer to it as broom.
So do you think
some people refer to it as Super 1, Super 2.
Oh, Super 1, Super 2.
Yeah.
So officially it's Super 1, Super 2 or Broom 1, Broom 2?
I mean, it's the same thing. We use the broom to...
No, let's be clear now with them all. Let us have Broom 1, Broom 2. Let us have Super 1, Super 2. Which one do you take as a party?
I think let's go with Broom 1, Broom 2 because it's very easy.
Okay.
You know, it's very easy for our people to remember. That's what they use all the time.
Yeah.
Super is also good, but you know, like I said, Broom 1.
So it's good to give good name to your party, Broom 1, Broom 2.
Anyway, but Jala,
Emmanuel Yarkpawolo is my guest on the Bumper Show. He is Tewan Gonglo's running mate. And so he's my guest. Go ahead, sir.
So it is important. I know you have profiled me, but each time you in a radio lane, there are new people listening.
Of course, that's why I keep announcing your name so that others can get Okorom with your name.
Yes, it's
and
important.
Know who you are.
Yes, it's important to still give my background. I think it's important.
Please
to highlight.
And I will come to that because I will need to ask you that question.
Okay.
Not many people knew you when I did that interview.
Exactly.
And they didn't know who you are. I will ask you for 2 minutes to tell who you are.
Definitely.
But let's move on. I will ask you, in the context of the next election, if Tewan Gonglo doesn't win this election, Emmanuel Yarkpawolo makes him soft. He comes on the front burner as a politician now, not a man who has been in academia. So, where do you stand? Are you preparing yourself as Broom 1, Broom 2 for 2029 in a worst case scenario that you don't win an election against George Weah?
I think election is about timing. Information is also about timing. Right now, what we do is to help Councillor Gonglo win the presidency, to help him develop Liberia and make Liberia a middle-income country. I think that's the focus. Let's keep on the short-term goal rather than trying to jump the government goal all the way to 2029. Let's talk about 2023 right now. And that is, I'm here to help Councillor Gonglo win the presidency and be his vice president, to serve as his vice president, and we lift Liberia out of poverty. People are suffering. And that is what we're going to do. In terms of...
What's the definition of suffering? How do you say suffering? How do you define suffering?
Let me define suffering for you. In fact, that's what my specialty is in the root causes of poverty. So poverty drives suffering, right? Suffering is that when people cannot find food to eat, when majority of the population cannot afford to eat, when the U.S. rate is above 180 to a single dollar, making life difficult for people. Suffering is when I go to a group of people where I was serving as a guest speaker for the program yesterday and ask the audience about who is in our audience that is gainfully employed. And I define gainfully employed that at the end of every month, you're able to take pay, and that pay can actually serve your family and perhaps the level little want to put in the bank. I didn't see one single hands up. Many, over 500 persons. One single hand could not come up to meet that definition. That's suffering.
That's suffering.
Suffering is when you go to Bon County and other part of Liberia, when kids don't have chairs to sit on, when you see teachers that have been volunteering for over 20 years, for 15 years, 10 years, they can't get paid. That's suffering.
Do you know
suffering is when you see...
Do you know the number of teachers in Liberia under the Ministry of Education who volunteered for 12 years under Madam Salif that have been placed on this payroll by the government?
I'm defining suffering. So let's just stick to that.
You're defining suffering.
Yeah.
But
I don't want to compare.
In the context, you could talk about health and other things.
Well,
but in the context of your definition of suffering,
yes,
if you name education, which you are a progenitor of our education system,
yes,
and a very erudite communicator in terms of education,
yes,
if you insinuate that people have worked all along, they have not been paid, and you have been in the education system before coming to government or coming to politics, it means that you are not having a realization of who have been taken from where they were before in the education area where they were not paid.
I just mentioned that some of them have been volunteering for 15 years.
But do you care to tell us how many of them have been placed on government payroll on the current regime that you want to replace?
I know. I think we give that
You
one
didn't know that.
to what the information minister name? Let's give to him.
Our
former Rennie. Let him come and tell us.
Answer Sony. Information minister.
Yeah. He don't want it.
But you are academia.
No.
So you must have those information at your fingertips.
No.
If you are coming to the politics,
I don't know how many people have been placed.
Now, so how did you get the figure of 15,000 plus people?
No, I'm not saying. I didn't say 15,000.
The number you gave, the figure
I
you
said a
gave.
lot of people. Some of them volunteering for 20, 15 years.
Yes, so
10 years.
15
or so.
years.
The way I got the number.
Statistics.
The way I got it, I visited schools and I talked to school principals and I took a lot of notes. So this is primary information. This is actually going to our school, say in Sloma, see the school there, interact with the principal in Belafanang, in different parts of Liberia. So this is, I'm giving you a
going as far as Koneboni Chief in Lofa County and go at Bogonjiri and all. That's what you say to me.
Many places to be on.
Have you been to those places in recent time and you haven't listened as statistics?
Of recent statistics I'm giving you, they are from Bond County as of recent.
But it means that statistics is on the broader picture. It's just from one small region, which doesn't constitute 1% of the population.
Well,
am I correct?
We can use
that. Am I correct that the area?
No, I don't think so. I don't think you are correct.
If you are talking an average picture of 15 counties in Liberia, you make mention of Bond County, which is a small segment of the country, and you make that as a holistic example to put a point through, and you must be clear with this information.
Our only defining.
Okay, so you have defined. Let's go ahead.
Let's continue.
The public is the judge. Let's go ahead.
Of course.
So I like the conversation. You're very realistic, man. Just like your leader is. Yeah, let's go ahead.
Anyway, but we can discuss the problems. We also need to discuss the solutions.
The solutions,
right?
yeah. That's
the solution. Just before the solution, you say you're going to ask me, maybe it's that time now. Let me do that.
No, you got to do that. I would do it.
Okay.
I would do it.
Don't
worry about the time.
Okay.
I am the custodian of the time.
Excellent.
Even if I eat 2 minutes or 3 minutes of the time of the next guest, I'm still the custodian of the time.
So, the way forward would be a 10-point agenda on Councillor Gongo to develop Liberia. How do we start? We talk about using the military to produce food.
The food.
So that we are self-sufficient when it comes to food production. So that we're not importing. Taking the subsidies that are given to importers of rice, some of the rice not even correct. Our Liberian rice is one of the best to produce food to feed ourselves and potentially export some. A solution is people on 65 years in order to have free medical care, free and quality medical care. A solution is children under 5 years and pregnant women to have free, good health care. The solution is from ABC all the way to 12th grade, free education. But we're not just talking about free, we're talking about free quality education, where you have furnished classes, where you have teachers that are well paid, they are well trained, where you have school desks and everything that's supposed to make education possible and to be competitive in the global economy. Free from ABC to 12th grade. The other solution is the culture and the art. Build theaters, help promote the Liberian culture so as to inculcate consciousness within the minds of the young people. Civic education, very, very important. A solution is also, but in fact, everything I'm talking about, how do we get it? You need money to do that, right? Everything I'm talking about is border on money. The way we're going to get money, the way Councillor Gongo is going to get money is to free the money. The money is tied in the hands of individuals and few people. The money is tied together, and what are the president?
The money tied in the hands of individuals that they bring again your hand. They bring straw.
No.
Okay.
No.
What did I honestly just?
Even though I'm holding the broom for different reasons.
Oh, okay.
I'm not trying to say.
I think you're trying to illustrate that to.
I'm trying to illustrate. I'm saying how we're going to free the money.
Illustrate your point.
Yes. How are we going to free the money? Because the money is in the hands of those at the head of the government. Go right now and see, oh my Liberia. Government officials, especially those at the top, go and see the amount of unit houses they are building. Well, where are they getting the money from?
Do you have empirical evidence for that, sir?
People are building a lot of houses.
Do you have empirical evidence?
We do.
If you come
they
to
are not
this
difficult.
flow, and, no, you must. I will give you a time, 2 minutes to get information. Who do you know in the government that has these housing units around? You want to call their names and tell them, give me pictorial evidence? We display it on the Facebook and people see it.
Let's do that another time.
No, I'm going to do it now. You made these allegations, and the onus is on you as Dr. Emmanuel Yarkpawolo to provide the evidence, because you have the proof of evidence on you.
Is that a secret evidence?
No, I don't know where you are secret evidence. Because the audience outside want to know, what does it bring to the table in terms of truthfulness to the discussion?
Chala, let me tell you how we're going to free. Let me tell you how we're going to free the money, right?
How do you going to free it?
The money is in the hands of few people through corrupt means. So the broom, one of the reasons why we have the broom is to sweep corruption out of government. Of course. Because if at all we take the GSC report and the various integrity report that have been out there from the LACC and other institutions, internal audit agency and the rest of it, if we go through it, there are people names there. So we set up a team. The first
of the GSC that you know, that
the first 100 days in office, we set up a committee to go through those, and those who those who are implicated, they are investigated, they are sent to court, and they are sent to prison. And then we do lifestyle audit for those who are at the top of the government. Every 3 months or so, we try to audit your lifestyle and see how you're living, what are your income, your expenditure is within your means. So when we institute those, you see the money will be free. And when I do this illustration, I normally use color. I use color for my audience like I did yesterday.
The one called
I use tool. I use that and pick up the color and say, this is the resource of the country. Call this the diamond, the gold, and everything. This resource is encapsulated in the national budget. And then we go to the budget, and then I take a big bite. This is what the president is eating. I take another big bite. This is what the lawmakers are taking. Those are the head of public cooperation. And a little tiny one remain now. Okay. So the one that is remaining, how can you use that to build public schools, roads, and the rest of it? It is impossible. The way the budget is structured and the way the budget go into individuals' pocket is impossible to be able to develop this.
Dr. I will come because you're almost driving me into my next question as to how do you intend to do things differently from the Georgia government is doing, from the Joseph Newman Parker, who's a vice president of said, you did the date in 12 years. How does your party intend to do it differently? But I want to bring you back. You talked about corruption, that the GSC has a litany of people who have been corrupt. Now, if you come into this kind of conversation, you must have gotten a fight from the GSC. The GSC record is a public record. You can go to walk-in information, they give it to you. They will say it's a transparency institution that is being financed by international taxpayers' money. And I don't want to think that we're going to hide any information from you because they were on the George we are. Why were I taking you, Dr. Yue, to go there and ask them how many government institutions or government officials in the government that have been indicted for corruption? Did you go to ask them before making that inference you made earlier?
I read a lot of reports. I read a lot of GSC reports. I have seen some of the report myself. So what I'm saying is based on what I've read. They are open secrets. But if you want me to start to point a name at this point,
but naming and shaming is part of the audit process. That is why John Molu, with all his SSS he had in this country, his disagreement with Ellen Johnson and others, he was doing the same political audit. Before the audit report comes out, he is saying to you, this person was caught in corruption. This man says the media was discussing before he came out, and John Molu was proud of doing that. That is how we name and shame people and audit the corruption in Ellen government side minimizing. So why they didn't have the time to do it?
So what I'm saying is, at this point, yes, to say, oh, name this person, name that person, no.
It's not important.
At this
Then
point,
why do you get the broom?
no.
The broom is intended to sweep corruption.
Of course.
And if you know the names of people who are corrupt, name and shame them so that they will not be doing the same thing again. But if you keep the broom and keep their names, it means you're not serious about corruption. That's what someone will say.
That's not the case.
I'm not correct. I'm not correct, are you?
No, that's not the case.
I'm incorrect.
Of course, with that assumption that as long as
that would be the views of the people outside there, that if Dr. Ure and the erudite professional lawyer, a father, James Tewan say Gongolo, wants to fight corruption, and he has the names of individuals who are involved in corruption under the weird government, he will have that in his hand, and I know how he will say it in a way that he will say here. You don't have one name on one sheet of paper, but you say that people are corrupt. You read in papers, you read in other areas. How do the people trust you for those insinuations?
I think they can get a look at their own lives and see what is going on and trust what we are saying. That not just under this government, but successive governments. Like real problem has been and remain corruption. And until we can get hold of corruption, this country will not go anywhere. So it's a fight. You can argue about it.
I know I trust you for what you
Of course.
That's what you said. I believe that very well.
Of course.
And I want to doubt you for that. Unless people who have been held or whose names are surfacing corruption are being brought to book to answer for their political sins they've committed against this country goes nowhere. And that's why I'm holding you. I said, what are the names? Let's call their names here.
Not today's platform.
Okay. Let me know who is Dr. Emmanuel Yarkpawolo in just 1 minute, 30 seconds. That's a small history of yourself. And I open the line. I will take 10 minutes of the next guest because this is a political show. And it's unusual to have, we already talked about everything when you came here, but I will get 10 minutes, additional 10 minutes. Just for the sake of the public.
Yes, so I think we come from a very humble background, and this story have been told around the world. It's important for young people to listen to it because I think sometimes we are discouraged. Sometimes things happen our way. We don't have place to turn. But if you believe in God and you work hard and you try to pursue your dream, you can get it. So my name is, of course, my name is Dr. Emmanuel Yarkpawolo. I was born in 1981 in a rural village, Gomu. And then
that's in Bon County.
That's in Bon County.
1981.
1981. And then
very young man.
I did not start school all the way
if I'm still being corrected,
1995.
you are the first known running mate to a presidential candidate.
Yes, we can check the record to say, but I'm 42 at this point. So we
42.
Yeah, okay. I'm 42. So we can check the record and say what.
And you are my younger brother.
I'm happy to be. I'm really, really, really happy to be. I'm very, very happy to be. Okay. So I did not start school until 1995, 1981 to 1995. It's about 14 months, 14 years, 13 years, 8 months, almost 14 years when I started school for the first time. Fast forward, 2005, I graduated from Lynn Miller as a student council president. I went to Cuttington, finished Cuttington in 3 years instead of 4 years. Then got a first master's degree, got a second master's degree from the state in 2013. Then 2018, I got a PhD. I always wanted to get a PhD.
So you spent less than how many years? So how many decades did you get a PhD?
So we're counting from 1995 when I first started in a kindergarten, and then
1995.
Yes. 1995 was the first time I started learning how to speak English. I started learning how to write.
You just speak very well.
Yes, and I still speak well. And I think God was preparing.
And so you're 15 years when you started school and you spoke Pele all through, you didn't speak English?
Maybe a little bit of broken one during the course of the war, but not any type of serious English. Yes. So, and then 2018, I have obtained a Doctor of Philosophy, considered to be one of the top, among the top 1% highly educated people in the United States, and by extension in the world. When you are that educated in the state, you are among the top 1% highly educated person in the world. A lot of people with
so
PhD.
you're one of the
lot of people with
most
PhD.
highly educated person in the world as of today.
Of course, most of the people that have PhD, they have 1 master's degree. Majority of them. Then they go ahead and pursue. I have 2 master's degree, even adding
And a PhD.
a research PhD, not the ordinary one. It's a difficult PhD. It's not the one that you can get and get so easily.
Is that the reason why Taiwan saw you and picked you?
I think not necessarily so. It may have contributed, but I said we talk together. I think it's more not mainly the education, but mainly the value system. All right, he has integrity.
Integrity?
Yeah, I have.
Does Emmanuel Yarkpawolo has integrity?
I do have integrity.
That's the reason you think Taiwan picked you.
I think a combination of those: education, integrity, values, but also by the will of God. God has a way of bringing people to prominence. So I think this is how far God wanted me to be. Just speaking by faith. So all kinds of variables would have contributed to that, getting me to this point. So the thing is that young people who are listening, you are not too old to learn. And this success is in education. But success could be in different fields. It could be in vocational program. As long as you are determined to learn something, you set a mind to it, it can happen. And you're able to contribute to your family, some other way to go. Try to organize yourself. Somebody will come along the way to help you when you are determined. So when you see that, but education is one thing. What do you do with the education? We use our education to be able to solve societal problems. So one problem, of course, we work with civil society and the Learned Council, Congo and I, along with a host of civil society. And of course, the government at the time was the land right law. So we passed a land right law that grant land right to ordinary Liberian indigenous people, tribal people, if you will. Before then, they never had that right. The right was in the hands of the government. We even strengthened the mineral rules within our law. And we advocated for women to own land because sometimes in the traditional system, women are denied the ownership of land. So when you are educated, how do you contribute? How do you use your education to help your people? That's why we build schools and making sure that children are going to school. That's why we innovate and bring agricultural programs in terms of finished product, in terms of what we've done building factory, where in that factory you put palm hair, it produces the oil. It does not use gasoline or fuel. It just uses heat. All kinds of innovation we've been involved with. So we are not bringing that innovation because we can innovate as much as possible, either in the NGO or private sector, in our private lives. But the people who have the lion's share of this economy, who made the decision, are those in government. That's why until good people can get in government, I haven't seen any country in the world that is developed without serious-minded people making decisions about themselves. Making decisions today, how will affect the country in the next 10 years to come, 15, 20, 25 years to come. That's how they make law. Not just people who just really looking for anything they can have today. Anything they can put in their pocket today, anything they can have for themselves. That will not develop Liberia. And I think Councillor Gonglo and I, along with those we are working with, we are determined to institute a real change for Liberia.
Dr. Emmanuel Yarkpawolo is a Liberian politician now, and he is the running mate to Taiwan Gonglo, who is an integral person. And I always refer to them, I said, I always tell Mr. Gonglo, I said, you are a liberal politician. He will see the wrongs, he talks about the wrong. He talks about the societal issues. And that's why Yarkpawolo brings to the table as well. And that's how politics should be. Discuss the ills, talk about the positivity and the negativities. Unlike those who come and speak all the gibberish of the government and say, well, no, that's a liberal politician. That's what liberal politicians do. Let me open the line for at least for 6 minutes and end I with Dr. Yarkpawolo, who is my guest here on the Bumper Show. My name is Jala Grayfield. On the flip side of 5 o'clock will be the folks from edition number 10, the leadership of edition number 10, where Yere Kolba is running, Josephine Davis is running, and lots of them are running. Call me on 080 514 096 080 770-560-560 are the two numbers. Hello, welcome. You are on the bumper for 10 seconds. Hello, welcome. Let's hear you. Vanny, let's hear you, my brother. Your brother is here. Come on, you. Go ahead. Just go ahead, brother. I just pull your leg. Okay, he will join Open Park if you think so. Hello, the next caller, welcome. Hello, welcome. Let's hear you. You are on the bumper show. Please make your case. Yes, welcome. Bondoy, let's hear from Bondoy. Mm-hmm. Okay. So let me ask you, who are the people you heard that didn't say that in corruption they don't be judged? But man, don't go that way, man. The government, listen. The government, listen to me. Let me hear you. You talking, I didn't talk, right? The government of Liberia did not find that Mange guilty of corruption, neither Bill Twawe. It was a government of the United States that said these people are corrupt. Unless the American people bring the result and say these guys are corrupt and bring the evidence, you cannot judge them on Liberian law. Do you know? You want to understand that for now? So the Liberian government can judge them. No, your time finished. You don't have 10 seconds. Your time finished. I want to get information to you so I can go running with that thing. Because Bill Twawe, Matana Mangeo, no, the Liberian government not holding reliable for corruption. The American people say they corrupt. But they say American people say they corrupt. They can't bring evidence against the people. No, listen now. The American people say that they say Matana Mangeo corrupt, Bill Twawe corrupt, and what it says, not super corrupt. They have not brought any evidence against them. You must hear that. I didn't go off. Thank you. I don't want to provide evidence, that information to you. You know, that's how we should be providing information to our brothers and sisters. Hello, welcome. Let's hear you.
Hello.
Let's go ahead. Let me hear you. What's your name?
Thank you so much. I'm calling from Lufa County.
Give let's hear you from Lufa.
Yeah, I want to thank Dr. Yarkpawolo so much. He is one of the best Liberian species. But for the representation, I'm talking about chairmanship. We don't know who is their chairman in this county, Lufa County. We don't know what. You hardly hear about them. Maybe some of them are interested in joining them because.
No, the other day I listened to, and I hosted Tewan Gongolo here. The man said he went to several villages in Lufa. Maybe he didn't listen. Maybe he can't do your sound. So don't worry, man. That man said he been there, and the poor cover that they say that three men were there.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, yeah, that one part I know. Tewan Gongolo was here with me already. We talk about it. He said he came from one place to the other. When he slept, he said he married a Loma woman. I can know that thing if I lied in that. Remember not catching good. He said I married Loma woman. The woman I married, I went to the woman home. And people call from Lufa, they said, I truly know here. So that one, that's the one that. Hello, welcome, let's hear you. Hello? Can you call you, said? Mr. Kolo, welcome. How are you, Mr. Pera? Come on in now. Kasha, ngono. Iwe bwa moku oju woman. All right, Mr. Pele Governor. The next caller is here. Hello, welcome. What's your name? Where do you come from, sir?
Hello?
Yes, welcome. How are you? What's your name? Thompson, let's hear you, my brother. Mm-hmm. Mm. Thank you so very kindly, Dr. Emmanuel Yarkpawolo is still here. Hello, welcome. You live on the Bumper Show. Hello, welcome. Let's hear you. Yeah, you live. Let's hear you. David calling from Ominga. David, let's hear you. David, let me who you there. You know something I let you read Chapman, right? Who the group of people that told who the group of people that told money people was away? Let me know the people name. No. Hey, my friend, listen to me. You know, when you come to this kind of conversation or some of us who are sitting on this radio who do research, you don't come with this kind of conversation that will be very hard to accept. You just come on the radio and make an allegation and say people to manipulate also you get nothing to say. What kind of information you gonna pull? You come on the radio, come with facts. Tell me say this other government official took 500,000 bill house here and bill. You don't have nothing to talk about. You understand? If I were to point to things that happen on the Israel government, I'm a journalist here for 26 years now. That's the only way I've done my whole life. It was President George who gave me opportunity to serve in his government by giving me green letter that I have, which is a privilege to me as a young man. 12 years I sat here as a journalist, working for private media institutions. I never had the opportunity. Today I come here, I criticized Ellen Johnson study yesterday. And some of the things we criticized Ellen for yesterday, they were facts. And we provided evidence against them. And I'm saying this, I'm not getting my next guest here. If you don't come, I will take Yarkpawolo up to me. I'm going to 10 more minutes because I want to give him ample time. And we criticize Ellen Johnson study because the men who come from, who came from Chevron. There was an oil company called Chevron that came to this country. They were doing exploration for oil. The men appeared before the Senate, before the PMC, at the legislature. He remarked, we gave $10 million US of money selling for budget support. And Ellen told us to get that money to her son, Robert Salif. They told that money, it was given to Robert Salif, personal money. He was in his two white car jeeps passing around here, building stadiums, and doing things. People say, how he would run as someone like Ebola. Were we not here when Ellen Johnson said I admitted that $80 million vanished from no car, that she took responsibility? These are facts because we are journalists over here. I'm not telling you, say, Amara Kwani, for example. I'm not saying Amara Kwani is corrupt. He's one of the best guys that serving Ellen government. Amara Kwani is corrupt. He took 50,000. I don't say that. I don't say Gafan today won't know. If I'm going to serve a Gafan, I have evidence against Gafan. But to come with the blue sky yesterday, go to 50,000, go pay horses here. What kind of human beings? What kind of human beings? They say, who are you? I don't understand. So that's why I challenge my younger brother here. Absolutely. Of course. Mm-hmm. he went mute. That's a diplomatic answer you are trying to provide, and he went thin on the microphone because he know how to answer to them. Are you there, Mr. Brantate? Oh, it is really cats and dogs around here.
I can remember when I don't enter my phone or what.
Yeah. Listen, Mr. Tate, I was at local hair office on Broad, that's on Randall. I think that's a Randall and Ashmore Street. I was there that evening. I was seated in the conference room of Noka when they called off that press conference that day.
Yes, after the manager of that company already made earlier statement that there's a commercial oil fund here in Liberia and there's a problem for Liberia. Yes, every year to come. The organized a general press conference 2 o'clock and said that the men to come back oil was that is not true like commercial oil here. So you see how the people playing with this conference?
Thank you, Mr. Tate. Thanks a lot. It's good that we have knowledgeable people like you, former Superintendent Brown Tate. I'm not getting any information that the team from this university is here. If they're going to come after 5-6 minutes, I'll let Mr. Dr. Yarkpawolo go and we'll talk something else. Things are very important to Liberian people to talk about as well. Let me go to this line and pick this caller. Hello, welcome. Let's hear you. Have 10 seconds. Hello. Hello, go ahead. Let's hear you.
Hello.
You don't have to listen to yourself on the radio or on your phone. Please go ahead and listen to. As soon as you hear hello, call that radio off.
Okay. I'm Jerry F5 from Bama Chief Compound.
Chief Compound. Go on now.
Okay. I want to tell you that this government, we have problem with the government because they take our money. We decide to retire. Remember that money, all the retiree will have put for we are.
You the spokesman for the retiree?
Yes, I do retire.
Are you the spokesman? You the one that speaks for the people there, for the people that they say the government eat that money allegedly? No, listen now. You the one that speak for them, they tell you must speak for them, say they don't vote for Joe, yeah?
I say I will not vote for Joe.
Say I will not vote, and say we will not vote. You want men all up there. If you, what you say is that Joe, we have put air money, how possible is that? The Labour Minister is here, Charles Gibson here. No, but wait now, wait. And you talk. Let's do it small, yeah? You hear you not say the government air money from Firestone. The government man who is the beam and the God Charles Gibson have been advocating for you to get a better from Firestone. How the man will be advocating for you? He get money, take money, eat it. Yeah, my man, I seen that a little man. I hear that man, they made an educated man. They make that teacher. You will see the father we're talking here. Dr. Emmanuel Yarkpawolo, you know what we're talking about. How possible that the man who is the teacher will advocate for you say, you don't pay out to you. Then they get the money, you will eat it and say, you know you get the money. And say, so you see, that's how sometimes you can just mislead the public. Then you say, we will not vote for him. Do you know what went wrong or what is the situation? He gone off. I didn't call you off. I was just asking question. Anyway, that's Liberia. Let me go to Dr. Emmanuel Yarkpawolo. And one of our colleagues asked a question. Moses Suentape asked, how do you go to school and obtain a bachelor in 3 years? Given the nature you have to carry many courses in SYC, did you have extra knowledge? What was it? Your juniors that you have to have all of those? That's a question I asked. You can go to the rest of them and go ahead.
Yeah, so
I think most of the guys were like...
Yeah, I think another guy we finished in 3 years, not just alone, Angeline. I forgot about her last name.
In Connington?
Yes, we both started September 2005 and finished in, I think, June 2008. 2008, about 3 years. So the way you do it, if you are smart, like we do, 21, 22 credit per semester, then vacation school, you go there and do another 8 or 9. You know, that's about 100.
Meaning you don't do anywhere, you don't do anywhere, you go to school.
I was basically studying. I mean, I didn't want to don't want to do things outside of that, but I will focus on study, and I did study very hard. And then I was blessed. The salvation I made through a sponsorship from Norway. Somebody will pay my school fee, so I didn't have to worry.
So you know how to work for food, baby?
Yeah, mainly school fees. I didn't have to worry about it. So I did study very hard. So if you study hard, you can make it. It's not impossible. That's something that we have done.
So the university allow you to carry what kind of 21 credits?
Yeah, sometimes I carry 22. That's the maximum, and I needed to get.
And that's the
layers
according to them.
Yeah,
undergraduate study. Undergraduate, rather.
Undergraduate, and to do that, I mean, I needed to get extra permission from the dean. And the layers of approval I got to go through that to review your.
Then you become an exception.
Yeah, basically,
okay.
You are so smart, so they don't want to keep you bored. Huh? If I was doing like 15.
Now listen to the callers. How do you respond to them?
I think
they were more basically saying to you, "Thank you, you are so young. It's good you came on a pro." Some said they really agree that you should be, and as others said you should be. So let me listen to you in 2 minutes or closer, Mr. Dr. Yue.
So I think I'm very appreciative to everything they said. Even though you try to push some of them really hard, you're not really been given a chance for them to speak on what on their mind.
I was just doing a fast check because I'm a journalist. I've been in this profession for 26 years. As you've been in academia or the law, if someone spews a gibberish and talk about education that is not favorable, you have to fasten your hand readily, you can say to the person you're lying. And that's how I was just fact checking them and saying this is true, and they don't come to at me.
It's important to talk about the U.S. sanction. Let me speak to that a little bit more. Because I think this is very important. The United States have what they call their policing power, right? They try to police the rest of the world in terms of good governance, especially government that practice democracy. So they are the, like, quote-unquote owners of democracy because they started it, and they are the father right now. So if you think that your country is practicing democracy, they try to follow your train. The United States doesn't just go and grab anybody and just pull you under sanction. There's a lot of investigation that is done. They invest a lot of resources. The power they have is that to try to slow you down by naming and shaming you in the public as they've done to some of our past government officials. A government that is serious now, a home government, don't say you're going to wait until the United States is going to come by to you and say, here are the evidence. Either the government or a civil society institution.
You want the government to have them prosecuted?
The government should request a serious...
Have you heard in any part of the world where the U.S. has sanctioned any official, any government around the world, and they adduce evidence of that country to prosecute them? You study in the U.S.
They were not.
You study in the U.S. One of the smartest person.
They were not.
The nomenclature yesterday earlier. I want the smartest person around the world.
No,
so if you say that, it means they are having other countries.
They will not come and say, here's the evidence. You prosecute your people. They operate with people under their law, and their law call for that. What they've done. A serious government, you would then request that they give you evidence.
Is there a precedence anywhere around the world? That's what I'm asking you.
That's what a serious government would do.
Is there any evidence, any precedence?
If this were
you're not answering me. You will go to that to the if. I'm asking, is there any precedent that have been set around the world? You being one of the smartest young men in the U.S. history to have graduated in such a way, as you stated earlier, you are a knowledgeable man. Is there any country that has done that before? They asked for evidence, it was given to them, and they prosecuted those involved?
We don't have to go and based on this thing. Is a common sense. It's a common lecture.
Common sense apply to everybody around the world in every country. It's
common logic.
That's what I'm saying. I'm just saying it because I'm playing devil's advocate here. If you ask a U.S. fellow, if I say U.S. fellow because you went through the...
What I'm
saying
saying
that there's no evidence around the world, then why do you ask
you have a country,
ask the evidence or have
you have a country that corruption is endemic. And corruption has undermined historically in the contemporary period the development of this country.
Yes.
So if a foreign government, if a foreign government like the United States sanctions some of your officials, right? And then if you are a serious government, you will ask the U.S. for the evidence. They will be able to give it to you, and you can use that to prosecute. But the whole thing about recycling people into government whenever they're done wrong, we saw the same thing on the administration anyway. And we're seeing it repeated right now.
You said recycling?
Of course. Somebody...
Who were recycled? Who do you know was recycled in government, in this regime?
right now what is happening.
No,
Those people.
When you say recycle, mean you are in one position and you are taken from and put another position.
Those sanctioned officials. Yes.
When you say recycled, it means that Dr. Yarkpawolo, as an academician, is taken from the Minister of Education minister and sent the Minister of Health. That's what recycle is, and that's what Ellen did on in so many instances.
What I'm saying,
from carried another place. So we say recycle. How does it apply to the sanctioned officials? Who do you know was in recycle after the relief of their post?
If the sanctioned officials who are qualified, some of them are qualified on a ruling party ticket. They are now leading from the executive.
Who do you know is qualified on a ruling party ticket? Who do you know?
On a ruling.
Of course, I want to ask you that.
I'll leave that for now.
No, you can't leave it for now.
No, I'll leave it.
No,
it's my right.
No,
it's my right.
If you don't know that, then I will inform you of that.
It's my right.
What I'm saying, you are doing injustice to the Liberian people if you don't say that, because you are a politician that want a change in this country. And when you come to the fight on this platform to talk the truth, even when there's another platform, you must bring the truth.
So what I'm saying is,
what you said.
What I'm saying is,
can you go back to that again?
What I'm saying is,
do not reserve that. I want to say that.
What I'm saying is,
who is considered on a ruling party ticket to run as a sanctioned official? Is it Nana? Is it Bill Trawe? Who is it? Or is it Serena Sifos? Who is considered on a ruling party ticket that you know?
What I'm saying is, the point I was driving at, because a caller,
the point you are driving at,
a caller, you push a caller back and say,
you said, let me read, don't pull that.
You push a caller back and say,
no, you try to
US, you want the US to bring the evidence and present it to the Liberian government.
You try to put a lie in my mouth, and I will not push lie.
No. We can't do that. We can't do that.
You said those who are sanctioned are being considered on the ruling party's ticket. That's why I asked you, who are the individuals? And you said you want to keep it for now. You cannot keep that information that you have diverse Liberian people. Can you please state who are they?
Right now, I will not say.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Yue.
Exactly.
It's been a pleasure talking to Dr. Yue today.
I have to close.
Please close.
I have to close.
Please close.
So I think thank you very much. It's been a very interesting conversation with you on this public radio. And thank you also for giving us, be considered opposition, the platform, to come here and articulate our view to the Liberian people. I think that's very important. It's a good example of a public radio, because this is funded by taxpayers' money. So
absolutely.
Every politician should have the right to come here. So we just want to talk to our people and say that the country is bleeding right now. And we want to give our people the hope. When you see that the US rate is so much higher right now, everything that is happening right now, it's not supposed to be like that. So, Tewan Gonglo, Dr. Yarkpawolo, are a clear alternative to this country come October this year. So we're asking for your support so that we will be able to turn this country and get it on the right trajectory, that this country will be considered once again among the Committee of Nations. We say thank you, and we pray that God will save Liberia. Those who want, who would like to mitigate violence like they did against us on Wednesday, we're asking that no violence, no matter what, do not result into violence.
Thank you, sir.
We should keep talking until we use the power of the ballot to change.
Let's talk and talk and talk.
And I agree with that. Until October 10, we use the ballot box.
You are choosing my political power voice now.
Oh, of course. I mean, if it is good, we can use it. It's not a problem. Thank you.
Dr. Yure ends at 5